sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
This Mariners and Twins series is brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. The Twins and the Mariners tonight at Target Field in downtown Minneapolis as the Twins try to snap a 4-game losing streak. A couple of things to watch in this series. The Twins' young bats continue to thrive. Aaron Hicks, multiple hits in 4 games in a row. He has a 5-game hitting streak during which he's hitting .526. And Eddie Rosario on a red-hot pace as well. The Twins welcome the Mariners to town. They haven't seen .500 since late May, and they right now are a season high 10 games under .500. Opening game of a 4-game set tonight with Roy Smalley. I'm Anthony LaPanta. Phil Hughes on the mound for the Twins. But the story for Minnesota, the fact that they're getting so much offense from their young hitters. We mentioned Hicks, we mentioned Rosario. How about Miguel Sano?
Well, Miguel Sano has just not looked one bit phased or overmatched here coming out of Double-A and facing big league pitching. But what has been amazing to me is how American League pitchers wasted no time just working on him. Usually, Anthony, you see a young guy come up and everybody says, well, let's see if they can hit my big league fastball. Not so much with big Miguel Sano. Only 43% of the time has he seen fastballs. That's amazing to me. These are the kind of pitches he sees with 2 strike counts, 3-2. He's having to contend with balls that are just on every corner at every speed, seemingly other than fastball. There's a changeup with 2 strikes. And to get to those 2 strike counts, as we look at a great slider on the outside corner, to get to those 2 strike counts, they are just working on him and working on him with hardly anything in the middle of the plate. It's been something unlike I've seen as a rookie in my recent memory, or maybe ever. And guys come up, maybe Mike Trout saw as many nasty pitches early as Miguel Sano is seeing in his debut.
Sano and these young Twins hitters will try and get things on track tonight against the Mariners. They'll hand the ball to Phil Hughes, looking to continue his hot streak on the mound, get the Twins back in the win column.
Sports North is presented by Luther Nissan Kia. 2 locations, 1 very low price. By Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Bud Light. Stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Chrysler. Enjoy your summer in style with great deals at the Chrysler Summer Clearance event. What a gorgeous night for a ball game. It's the opening game of a 4-game series between the Mariners and the Twins. Left-hander Jay Happ will go for Seattle. Phil Hughes has been on a pretty nice roll for the Twins. He hopes to extend it here in the series opener. And it is a gorgeous night here at Target Field. Dick Kramer along with Jack Morris. Twins hope to get back on the winning track here tonight. And they hope that Phil Hughes will be able to pitch them to a victory. He's had a very good run as of late after a slow start.
Yeah, Phil is pitching a lot more like the guy we knew last year than the guy that we saw the first half of the season, at least the first part of his season. You see the splits on him, 4-5 to start the year and 5-1 with almost half the ERA that he had the second half. And I think it's just more of a case where Phil's showing a little bit more of his breaking ball. He's been asked by his pitching coach, Neil Allen, to at least show that breaking ball, the slower stuff, and that makes his fastball a little stronger, and he's having really good success with it lately.
Seems like forever since the Mariners had a really good offensive ball club. A couple years ago, they signed Robinson Cano as a free agent. This past offseason, they signed Nelson Cruz, and Cruz has really paid dividends for them.
Well, he's a guy that swings hard in case he hits it, and he hits quite a few, quite honestly. He's always been a home run type guy. You see that he's already surpassed his average for the last 7 years. That's 20 home runs a year for 7 straight years, 26 already this year. He's a huge part of the Mariners offense, and he's the one guy you got to try to be careful with runners on base.
Twins still have a chance to post a winning month of July, but they need to win the next couple ball games to do that, and they hope that a good series win and end to this homestand will propel them into a good August. One of them was Phil Hughes' outing against the New York Yankees. He did not give up a home run in that outing. There have been many times over the years a Twins starter went 7 innings and didn't give up at least 1 home run in New York. Been a disappointing year for Lloyd McClendon and the Mariners. So many high hopes at the start of the year, and right now they're a season low 10 games below 500. The Menards batting order tonight: Austin Jackson, Kyle Seager, Nelson Cruz, Seth Smith, Franklin Gutierrez, Mark Trumbo, Brad Miller, Chris Taylor, and Mike Zunino. Austin Jackson in the box, taking strike one from Phil Hughes. Jackson, Seager, and Cruz to get things started. Phil Hughes making his second start this year against Seattle. Driven to the right field corner. It'll be chased by Hunter, and it is a foul ball. 2 strikes. You probably agree with the guy who normally sits in that chair that Bert Blyleven says repeatedly that, and he's a guy who gave up a lot of home runs, but he said, you know, solo home runs won't beat you, but a lot of times it depends who your mound opponent is. Phil Hughes gave up 2 solo home runs to the Mariners in Seattle. His mound opponent that night was Felix Hernandez, and it was enough to beat him and the Twins.
No question about it. You know, it's always about giving up that first run. For me, you know, if you never let the other team get ahead of you, you can give up a lot of home runs.
1-2.
There's Felix right there.
Twins won't face him in this 4-game series. There's a ball driven to right center field, slicing away from Hicks, running after it. He won't get there. It's an opening extra base hit for Jackson, who gets to second base and will hold up there. Hughes got ahead of him. 0-2. It's been a common theme in this homestand. The Twins getting ahead of batters and then giving up a lot of 2-strike hits.
Phil Hughes throws a lot of strikes, and that pitch, even though he was ahead by 2 strikes, he threw it right down Broadway, and you can't do that to major league hitters and find yourself having a lot of success. They don't miss those pitches over the heart of the plate too often.
And now Kyle Seager will bat. And a strike over the inside corner. As Hughes's numbers become more and more similar to last year's numbers, one thing that has not been the same, we saw Phil last year clocked at 94, 95 regularly. The velocity's not been there this year. The ball lined to Mauer, throw to second, and dive.
Now Phil actually caught a break right there. Another ball that was center cut down middle, and Seager hit it very hard. The old atom ball, though, it can be and usually is a pitcher's best friend. This ball's crushed right at Joe Mauer.
A couple of well hit balls, and now Nelson Cruz, who hit one of the 2 solo home runs Phil Hughes gave up in Seattle in late April. 26 on the year. Hughes clips the outside corner at 92.
You talked about his velocity, and it may be down a click or two, but his cutter, which is a pitch that he really had great success with last year, has been a little more inconsistent. And as we watch Phil through this game, we'll have to see how many he throws that are on the corner or off the corner instead of down the middle of the plate. That's the pitch that he's made some mistakes with and cost him quite a few of the home runs that he's allowed.
One and one. Foul back 1-2. We've seen Hughes do this regularly. Fastball, fastball, cutter, fastball, fastball, and not throwing that off-speed pitch much in the early innings.
It's something I know that man right there, Neil Allen, has talked to him over and over. And Phil, you know, to a good thing and to a bad thing, he's been bullheaded with it. A little stubborn of throwing that off-speed pitch because he has so much confidence in his 1-2, that being the fastball and cutter. And to Neil Allen's point, he just wants him to show it to him. Phil may not have a lot of confidence throwing for strikes, but he hasn't given up the long ball on that pitch. Nobody gets good swings on that pitch. So that's why he just wants to show it to him, put it in the back of the hitter's mind that it's in his repertoire, that he's willing to throw it, and that can keep them off balance.
1-2. Nice stop by Suzuki. I know, and we've talked about this before, but I know in your year with the Twins in 1991, by then in your career, you had a super slow changeup, and you threw it often on the first pitch because you knew It was a free strike. If you could throw it over, they were not going to swing at it.
Yeah, it was almost an Ephus type changeup. It wasn't a good one. It wasn't as good as a lot of the pitchers in the game have. But I knew that if I threw it for a strike, it's strike one. And I'm ahead. They're not swinging. They never swung at it.
Chopper to third. Sano makes a backhanded pickup. And, okay, Hughes is at 92 to home plate. I think Sano was 95 across the infield. 2 down. Let's take a look at the Northland Ford defense for the Twins, because it is curious. Not in the outfield. Rosario, Hicks, and Hunter across the outfield. But Sano and Polanco getting the starts on the left side of the infield. Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer on the right side with Suzuki behind the plate.
No question about his arm strength right there. He coming off Tommy John surgery. That's why he missed a lot of last year. But he threw that one with no effort. There's Polanco, the Twin shortstop.
2 down. And Hughes trying to pitch around the leadoff double. Seth Smith, the cleanup batter. Robinson Cano had been hitting there, but Cano won't play today and might only DH in this series because of an ab strain. There's a deep drive to right field. And a 2-0 Mariner lead. Hughes, who got the next 2 outs after the leadoff double, serves up a 2-run home run on the first pitch to Seth Smith.
I think the league in general have all kind of adjusted to Phil Hughes, knowing that Phil pounds the strike zone, will challenge you early in the count, tries to get ahead. Watch the location again. It's just too good a pitch. He tried to get in, and that ball was left over the plate. That was a fastball. But again, trying to get ahead with a fastball, and everybody's ready for it.
Franklin Gutierrez takes ball 1.
Pitcher perfect swing right there. Head down, hands out in front of the plate.
Swing and a miss, 1-1. Hughes, the 24th home run allowed this year after allowing just 16 all of last year. There's a breaking ball, but it misses 2-1. Gutierrez, the designated hitter, which is a bit odd. It tells you a little bit about where the Mariners are. Gutierrez is known as a supreme defensive player, and he hasn't achieved stardom because he's struggled offensively, had all sorts of injury issues, some of the weirdest, most uncommon injuries you can imagine. And now he's back with the club as their DH tonight. This one line to right field, and just about everything has been hit right on the button. That ball's going to run to the gap, and Gutierrez is going to dig for second. A line out, 3 extra base hits, and a rough start here tonight for Phil Hughes. We thought at the time a very important second out on Cruz's ground ball. A nice play by Miguel Sano.
Yeah, he goes to the ball and tries to get it on that short hop. That's a smart play for a third baseman. You don't want to have that ball play you. He checks the runner to his left, and then he just makes just a great throw over to first base with a little hump on it. Nice play by the young third baseman.
There's Mark Trumbo. Trumbo acquired to help invigorate the Seattle lineup.
One thing Phil Hughes could do, even with the style of pitching that he has, that primarily being fastballs and cutters, is he needs to, early in the game, move a few hitters' feet. Get them uncomfortable. The league all around baseball understands that Phil pounds the strike zone, and he never seems to brush anybody off the plate or make them uncomfortable. I'm not saying hit a guy, but make him move. Make him feel like, hey, he's not afraid to come in here. And when you're always throwing middle half away and, once in a while trying to put a front door cutter on a guy, they never feel like they're threatened on the inside part of the plate.
Breaking ball tapped to short, and Sano deftly picks up the ground ball and tags Gutierrez right in front of him. Mariners strike for 2 in the first. Output. You saw their new hitting coach Edgar Martinez and a couple of quick runs here in the first inning. Paul Molitor hoping that the team can reverse what has been a difficult start to this homestand. And the Menards batting order has Brian Dozier, Aaron Hicks, Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, Torrey Hunter, Eddie Rosario, Eduardo Escobar, Kurt Suzuki, and Jorge Polanco.
They're going to be facing the left-hander Jay Happ. Jay Happ's making his 20th start. His last appearance came out of the bullpen. The Mariners starting pitchers were banged up quite a bit in their last homestand, so Happ had to go out there in the bullpen, pick up an inning. He's the kind of guy that can get wild. The Twins have to be patient with him because he'll throw a lot of pitches.
First pitch tap foul, 1 strike. Happ's most recent appearance came out of the bullpen because he lasted just an inning and 2/3 in his last start. That was on July 25th against Toronto. Had all sorts of issues. Gave up just 1 hit, but there's a deep drive to left, and Dozier strikes quickly. It's a 2-1 ball game.
Brian Dozier looking like the long haul softball guys in the pregame here. Again, how many times have we seen Brian Dozier take a high fastball middle in and just tomahawk it to left field? Classic swing. He doesn't get beat, and the Twins get one on the board too.
Up out of the strike zone. So now 2-1, and Aaron Hicks. Hicks coming off a 3-hit game yesterday, and he takes up and away ball 1. I didn't even get to blurt out the Happ difficulties. He pitched an inning out of the bullpen in the 3-game sweep against Arizona, but he made a start against Toronto. An inning and 2/3. He only gave up 1 hit, but he walked 4 men and hit 1, and they had to get him out of there. And as a result of that start and some other ineffective starts, the Seattle bullpen's been overworked. They come into this series really reeling. And now Hicks laces one to center field, and the Twins are pouncing on Happ here in the first inning.
Aaron Hicks has been one of the hotter Twins hitters, really heating up in his last 5 games. You see that he's 10 for 19 with a home run, now 11 for 20 with that base hit up the middle. And they haven't been cheap hits either. Aaron Hicks has been driving the ball. A welcome sight for Twins fans to see this guy heating up and showing what he can do.
Here's Mauer. Breaking ball. He tried to push it in front of Seager for a base hit, but he missed. 0-1.
Yeah, the Mariners got a shift on for Joe Miller. The shortstop is playing right behind second base, and you can see where Seager at third base is playing. So Joe, if he can just push it by Jay Happ, the pitcher, he's got himself a base hit.
And now a fastball taken for a strike.
Dick, you talked about Jay Happ's last start, that being against his former team, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Jays know him very, very well. I imagine as it goes when you face your former team, knowing the way the Blue Jays swing the bat, and the guy that on the mound, Jay Happ, throws a lot of high fastballs, it had to be a little bit intimidating for Jay Happ to go back there and face his old mates.
Lefty against lefty, but look how extreme the outfield shift is for Seattle. Austin Jackson playing in left center field. See the Royals play an extreme shift like that. Down and away, 2-2.
Well, the reason for that is the spray charts are going to show that when Joe hits the ball on the ground, a lot of times he'll roll it over to the right side, and when he hits it in the air and gets it past the infield, he'll shoot it out to left field majority of the time.
That's line to left. And coming in to make the catch is Smith. And Hicks gets back to the bag. So Mauer lining it into the outfield shift. 1 away. That'll bring up Miguel Sano. Northland for defense for the Mariners. Seth Smith in left. Austin Jackson in center. Nelson Cruz in right. Seager and Miller left side of the infield. The Mariners with a different looking right side of the infield with Sano and Morrison out. It's Taylor and Trumbo. Cano unable to play. Might be a designated hitter later in this series, but they think it might be a little while yet before he can return to second base. Here's Sano. Down and away, ball one. Sano hitting cleanup but playing third base because Olivia and Trevor Plouffe had their baby late yesterday. We want to congratulate them. If awake, we presume that one or both of them is watching. Pulled foul, and perhaps if awake, Theodore Winston James Plouffe is watching too.
Absolutely.
This could be Teddy's first Twins game.
Well, congratulations to the Plouffes. Hopefully everybody is healthy and happy, and Trevor gets some sleep.
1-1. And off the outside corner, 2-1. One of the amazing things about this contending season for the Twins is, we talked about it before, the transition phase that this organization is in. A number. Hicks will gain second base, and Happ throws it off target, so no will reach. And Happ shoots himself in the foot again, trying to make a fielding play. He juggled it and then threw high. First and second, one down.
It's amazing how many times, no matter what level of baseball you're played, the coach tells you, keep your eye on the ball until it's in your glove. Then once it's in your glove, transfer it and make a throw. But when you panic, and Jay Happ had plenty of time on this play. Sanoa's not the fleetest of foot, but he did bobble it, picked up his head, and then he was trying to regroup. Did not set himself long enough to make an accurate throw.
And now Hunter got the day off yesterday. And hits the first one sharply but foul.
Paul Molitor has addressed the media and pretty much let everybody know, in his opinion, the numbers that Torrey has put up are because of timely days that he's able to rest. And he thinks as his career is extended, that's a very important part of it. Torrey probably doesn't buy into all of that, but Twins certainly could have used his bat in the lineup in the last series, especially yesterday.
Paul addressed it in terms of the second baseman Brian Dozier, how he was going to get more days off in the second half than he did in the first half. And if that's true for a guy in his 20s, certainly is going to be true for a guy who turned 40 a few days ago.
The key for Torrey, and they actually were teasing each other. Paul was talking about playing into his 40s, and Torrey kind of called him out. He said, yeah, well, you were DH and I could do that. And
I'll do that when I'm my 50th birthday.
When I'm 50. And Paul understands that the legs are the part that Torrey needs rest on. Standing in the outfield for 9 innings day in and day out is hard on a 40-year-old's legs.
2-2. In my time with the Twins, on a related note, one of the most amazing physical feats I've witnessed was the fact that Kirby Puckett on that artificial turf in center field played as long as he did, never once went on the disabled list because of a leg injury. 2-2 to Hunter. Just missing the inside corner, and Happ thought he clipped the corner. It's a full count.
Dick, the most amazing part of what you just said was not the fact that he played on the turf, it was the fact that he never loosened up. He just went out, grabbed a bat, and started hitting.
Let's go play.
Kirby was not the guy to do a lot of pregame stretching, but he certainly was ready for the game, and I guess that's why Tom Kelly didn't push him on the issue. He was always healthy, and he was always ready to play.
Base hit left field. Hicks to third. He's being waved around, and we've got a tie game. The Twins answer very quickly, and Hunter drives in his 55th run. Hicks scoring from second base.
Well, there's the presence that Torrey Hunter was asked to bring when he came here. I know that the guy in center field, Aaron Hicks, and the future center fielder Byron Buxton really are just absorbing everything Torrey Hunter can offer them, but he's got to do it on the field too, and he does it by example. Still hitting at his age and driving the ball with authority. Gets a big RBI right there.
Eddie Rosario will bat. Rick Waite's the pitching coach, made a trip to the mound. 3 hits for each team already in this first inning. At least I didn't. I know you didn't. I hope in the pregame show, Roy Smalley and Anthony LaPanta didn't predict a pitcher's duel. Wave and a miss. Usually we predict a pitcher's duel and it's a 10-8 ball game. And we might be headed there here tonight the way things are started. Rosario and Hicks entered the game tied for the team lead in batting average at 288 among hitters. With there's a deep drive to right field. Eddie Rosario with a 3-run home run.
Well, we may not have predicted a pitcher's duel, but however the Twins are doing it, I think we'd both agree that they needed to have a little feel-good something happen to them today to get kind of back on track and start feeling like they're going to be a part of this postseason run one way or the other. They're showing it with their bats early in this game.
A hanging breaking ball inches inside, and Rosario just swept his hands through, put the barrel of the bat on it, and there she went.
Well, they talked about the young guys contributing. Sano got on with an error, but Hicks got a base hit and scored. Rosario hits a 3-run home run. The young guys again in tonight's game showing that they are part of the offense.
1-0 to Escobar, and he swings and fouls it off of Zunino. 1-1. Quick start for the Twins, a quicker start than the Mariners, who got a 2-run home run in the top of this inning. Lifted foul over the Twins dugout. Escobar, the designated hitter. The Twins wanted to take a look at Polanco at short because Trevor Plouffe might be back tomorrow. More likely he'll be back Saturday, and they've called up Polanco and want to take a look at him. Chopped to third, picked up by Seager, and Escobar retired for the second out. And now Kurt Suzuki.
As this game goes along now, we're just going to have to hope that the Twins don't back off the throttle, that they score a lot of runs in one inning and then kind of shut it down. Phil Hughes obviously has 3 runs to work with going back out to the mound, but Twins offense needs to keep pouring it on every at bat. I know Tom Bernansky has been really preaching to him to keep grinding out those at bats.
That's what was so nice about the first half of the Yankee series. The Twins, of course, had the 10-run outburst against the Yankees in the opener, and in the first half of the game, they scored in multiple innings and had threats, it seemed like, in just about every inning. And then somebody shut the water off.
And you know what? It is baseball. Torrey Hunter knows that. He talked about it in the pregame. You know, you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to face your good pitchers.
And a base hit for Suzuki. 5th hit of the inning.
I got to believe that the Mariners, because of their pitching situation, are going to have to ride out Jay Happ for a while anyway. They're going to want him to get some innings in.
That might have been the message from Rick Waite.
Yeah,
you know,
it could have been. Hey, look at you. No matter what you do, you're out here. I've had those messages.
Don't look over your right shoulder. There's not going to be anything happening out there. Here's Polanco. Polanco offensively is ahead of his game defensively. the Twins feel his bat will play up here. They're a little concerned about where he is defensively, ostensibly playing a position that's been wide open this year. And he takes a strike 1-1.
I don't think there's any question that shortstop position is there for the taking for anybody that puts a Twins uniform on and gets a chance. But it's also one of the toughest positions to play if you're a defender, if not the toughest.
And he did not check his swing. A strike is called, 1-2. I think they thought, the Twins dug out a little chatter, that he did check his swing. That's been a contentious call, shall we say, leading to ejections. Down and in, and it's 2-2. Well, in addition to the 5 runs the Twins have scored, Happ is about to throw his 32nd pitch. There was talk not that long ago that as the Mariners fell out of the race, Happ might be a marketable commodity. Left-handed, veteran starting pitcher, chopped to short. And Miller pretty sure-handed. Polanco retired. The Twins go deep twice and score 5 times to take a 5-2 lead.
Eddie Rosario go deep. Speaking of home runs, if you're a hockey fan, we have a home run for you on February the 6th. It is the 10th annual Wells Fargo Hockey Day Minnesota, presented by the Minnesota Wild, Fox Sports North, and Minnesota Hockey. The outdoor games announced earlier today. Anthony LaPanta was on hand. It's going to take place at Bayfront Park on the shores of Lake Superior. I mentioned the date, February the 6th. Duluth-Benfeld takes on Evelyn Gilbert. That's a 7A matchup. And, of course, a rematch of the AA state championship game between Duluth East and Lakeville North. Circle it on the calendar, guys. February 6th. There's nothing like it. Hockey Day, Minnesota 2016.
Well, thank you, Kevin. And I can say this more credibly perhaps now because I'm not involved in it anymore. But I was for like 3 years. What a ambitious and wonderful effort that is by Fox Sports North and the staff there, Minnesota Wild, everybody that's involved in it. Full day of hockey. It was my pleasure to be a part of it for a few years. And there's the lineup. Should be a wonderful time.
So we have a cold enough winter to make ice out there on the bay.
Well, 2 of the years I did it, the blue lines were melting. It was so warm. So you'd think early February. Great stop by Dozier going to his right. He makes the play. A quick start to the series opener for Brian Dozier. A home run in the bottom of the first and a great play in the top of the second.
Well, all-out effort right there for Brian. He's just so quick with his first step and kind of knows how far to extend his body on both sides. But when you're a pitcher on the mound and you get defensive plays like that, it just, I mean, it's the difference between pitching out of a stretch and going, oh no, not again, to 1 out, I only need 2 more, and we're back in the dugout.
Lifted to right center field, chased by Hunter, running to the gap, and he runs it down. You talked about the legs and how Paul Molitor and Torrey Hunter have tried to manage that situation. In that case, he got a quick jump and ran as fast as his 40-year-old legs would take him and took a good angle.
Yeah, he's going to be in the upper right-hand corner, but you see his first step in the route. The route is right on. It's a straight line. It's not a banana. It's not an S pattern. It's straight to where the ball's going to come down. That's just years of experience and understanding how balls fly.
There's Mike Zunino. Hughes starts him with a strike.
Phil Hughes in the first inning, and I think it's been 3 straight fastballs to start hitters off this inning too. So basically 5 of the 6 first hitters that Phil faced, he started with 92-mile-an-hour fastballs, and he gave up 3 hard hit balls. Well, when everybody starts seeing the same pitch in the same location out over the plate, hitters are going to be not waiting to get behind in the count. They're going to be jumping on them. They're swinging early this inning too.
Zunino now with a 1-2 count. Lifted to right. Hunter retreating. And he'll play the carom. Zunino digging for second. Here's Hunter's throw. A little offline. It's another extra base hit. 4th extra base hit for the Mariners. First time through the order against Phil Hughes.
That pitch is a little bit more down in the zone, but it's another fastball. And for the life of me, I don't know why he hasn't at least shown one off-speed breaking ball. Just show it to somebody.
Here's Jackson. Clobbered a double off the right center field fence his first time up. Hughes got to the second out after the double. And looked like he was ready to wriggle his way out of the jam, and then Smith homered, Gutierrez doubled.
And that was his first breaking ball right there. A slider that he was under a little bit.
1-0. And hitting the corner, 1-1.
Now, granted, you're going to have a little bit different mindset when you're ahead by 3 runs. You want to pound the zone, challenge those hitters. But Phil now, second time through the lineup, he's going to have to maybe mix things up a little bit more. There's a breaking ball.
But to your point, needs to throw it. But unless he throws it for strikes as he just did, that really won't do much to get the hitters off the fastball, will it?
Well, it will if I mean, you can't throw all of them for balls, obviously, right. But you've got to show it once in a while. Hitters understand, look, he just missed that one. Or I could have swung it, but I'm glad I held up. Those kind of things. I mean, they're seeing the pitch.
Ball inside, missing 2-2.
I think that the couple of pitches that are really complete waste for a pitcher is a high fastball in a count where a hitter's just taken. Because hitters see it like a beach ball coming in. They never offer at that high fastball if they're in take mode.
2-2.
And the other one is when it's really buried in on them and they can't even swing.
Struck him out
with a breaking ball.
With a breaking ball. Zunino left at second. It's a 5-2 lead for the Twins. Torrey Hunter with a base hit, a run scored, and a nice catch in the game. first inning. Twins leading 5-2. And Tyus Jones with the Minnesota Timberwolves making the ceremonial first pitch. He was here on opening day along with Kevin Garnett. Second appearance for Tyus Jones. He's getting better, throwing more strikes.
Well, he's one reason that I'm going to go to a Timberwolves game this winter.
Brian Dozier will lead off the second. He led off the first with a home run that got the Twins picked up immediately after Seattle's 2-run first inning. 1-1. Dozier's 22nd of the year. Dozier last year hit a total of 23 home runs, most of those in the first half. Inside, 2-1. Chopped to third. Easy play for Seager. One away. That'll bring up Aaron Hicks. Hicks on a bit of a roll. 6-game hitting streak. Join us August 16th for a Super America Knothole Kids Day as the Twins take on the Indians. The first 5,000 fans 14 and under get a TC plush presented by Delta Airlines. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets. Get your tickets today. Hicks with a single and his batting average now .293.
During this recent search by Aaron Hicks, it's amazing to me that he's hitting the ball with authority from both sides. And we're talking about a guy who gave up on the left side a year ago. And I know you've been talking about it for a while now, but he's hitting from his comfort side here, right-handed against the left-hander Jay Happ. But Aaron Hicks doesn't seem like left side he's really missing anything from the right side. He's been driving the ball from both sides. That's a tough thing to do, especially when you have very little confidence.
High and deep to left center field. This ball's back and it is gone. A home run for Hicks. The advantage of being patient. He got a 2-0 count, sat on a pitch and absolutely clobbered it.
Well, that's a no-doubter. He's got to be feeling so good right now. We talk about it as athletes of being in the zone, being locked in. Right now, Aaron Hicks is just greeting everything right out in front. What a beautiful swing.
That was off the back wall of the bullpen. I guess it one-hopped the back wall. Here's Mauer taking a strike. 3 home runs for the Twins. Dozier, Hicks, and Rosario. Paul Molitor today was giving everyone an update on Byron Buxton. Said Buxton had a really good day today. He swung in the cage for the first time on the field in the batting cage and hit the ball. This is the manager's term, not mine, as if he hadn't missed any time at all. Now it's just batting practice, but was hitting the ball extremely well in the cage. And then Molitor went on to wistfully imagine a world with both Byron Buxton and Aaron Hicks in the outfield. And folks, that might be where we're headed here, with 2 center fielders in the Twins outfield, one maybe in left, a little bit bigger than right, and the other in center. And Mauer taking a called third strike, 2 down. And then you've got Rosario, you've got Hunter, but Paul was talking about this year, saying if Buxton goes down and hits, he's hopefully going to be sent down to Florida later this weekend, and then eventually a rehab assignment. And if he's hitting the ball well, they're not going to, be very patient in bringing Buxton back, and you could have a very athletic roster.
No question. No question. It's the kind of outfield that pitchers dream to have behind them. Guys that can run balls in the gap, catch everything, good, strong throwing arms. I mean, that's what gets Twins fans excited. You think about Aaron Hicks doing what he's doing. The guy to his right, Byron Buxton, the young phenom from the minor leagues that we've heard about forever. You got Miguel Sano, who has shown that he feels like he's in the big leagues and has been his whole career. Eddie Rosario, you know, don't forget about Kenny Vargas, who could still crush if he ever figures it out at AAA. So the Twins have got a lot of great young prospects, and if they can start feeling it, it could be a lot of fun as we go forward.
And Sano, this one foul. Six runs on 6 hits. Sano reached on an error and scored on the Rosario home run. And now a full count. Close pitch. You can hear, I think, the encouragement from the Twins dugout. Good at bat, good at bat. Technically a plate appearance, but Sano on a borderline pitch draws another walk.
Well, he's been so patient at the plate, and that's what gives his manager, his hitting coach, so much encouragement. You know, he's a guy that's already being pitched like a veteran. He can, you know, you usually get a lot more fastballs as a rookie. Roy Smalley talked about that, and it's true. You know, you see a new kid in the big leagues, and you're a pitcher with experience. You say, all right, I know he got to the big leagues because he can hit a fastball, but can he hit my fastball? And Sano is just very, very patient. He has the poise of a veteran hitter.
2-out walk. Hunter will bat. Second trip in as many innings for the Seattle pitching coach, Rick Waits. No activity in the Seattle pen. So if not in the first inning, here in the second inning, the message might very well be, it's your game. You can make it out of it what you're going to.
You got to give us some innings today. That was the message, no question.
Here's Hunter. Singled in a run to tie the game his first time up. And he takes a strike. Foul. Got to be a demoralizing time for the Mariners. I mean, my goodness, the whole season's been demoralizing. They had a terrible series against the Diamondbacks, and then they made a trade today. Dustin Ackley, who had really struggled, but still one of the foundation players that they had. We're hoping to build around as they hope to have a contending season this year. So one of the guys that people had grown accustomed to seeing in the clubhouse gone, traded to the Yankees today. Busy day in the transaction wires. Fouled into the seats. So I think that in the next 20 hours or so, Hisashi Iwakuma might be dealt.
It's getting fast and furious.
Bouncer left side. Keeping Seager busy. He fires across to end the inning. Another home run for the Twins. This one by Aaron Hicks. You're watching the Mariners and Twins, brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. Adventures and hidden treasures on Minnesota's Iron Range. Visit exploreminnesota.com. Discover a world that's only in Minnesota. Share and tag your Minnesota experiences with hashtag #OnlyInMN. Immerse yourself in the history of Iron Range geology, mining, immigration, life skills, and traditions at the Minnesota Discovery Center. Spent a lot of time up in the Iron Range, I suppose.
I've been on those ATV trails that they just saw, and if you're going up there, they're a lot of fun. Be careful.
Well hit ball, leadoff hit for Kyle Seager. Seager hit a bullet to Mauer his first time up. And the next to last day, I guess, before the non-waiver trading deadline, David Price dealt to the Toronto Blue Jays, who a couple days earlier got Troy Tulowitzki. Brandon Moss going to the Cardinals from the Indians. Matt Latos and Michael Morse going to the Dodgers. Morse, when the deal was finalized finally later today, he had already had it in bat with the Marlins and never got a chance to report for duty with the Dodgers because the Dodgers designated him for assignment. Here we go, page 2. Joakim Soria dealt to the Pirates. Mentioned Ackley going to the Yankees. Carlos Gomez, bad hip and all, going to the Astros along with Mike Fiers. Gomez last night, the reports were premature, obviously, that he was going to the Mets. Here's Cruz, 1 strike, and now a ball.
No question that trades are really heating up here. We had a little less than 24 hours, right, of activity.
4 o'clock tomorrow, I believe Eastern time, is the trade deadline. 1-1. Fastball off the plate, 2-1. Now Hughes has had the rough start here, and he's been hit pretty hard in the opening innings. But if he can just put a few zeros up there while the Twins hopefully add to the score, Roy Smalley termed it changing the number. It's kind of what got the Twins in trouble Saturday night against the Yankees. They jumped out in front 5-0, but then didn't change the number. Swing and a miss. Foul tip. 2-2.
You don't have to change the number if that pitcher keeps throwing goose eggs.
I didn't know if you were going to say it, but I knew you were thinking it.
Well, there's nothing better than when a team's in a slump to have your ace go out and throw a shutout. I mean, those are what everybody wants.
2-2. Swing and a miss. He's going down and in, and getting a strikeout of Cruz. 1 away. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag NorthDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Seth Smith hammered the first pitch he saw from Phil Hughes into right field, and the Mariners had a quick 2-0 lead.
Bet you a nickel he's going to take this first pitch.
I don't have any loose change. You want to up the stakes.
And the reason I say that is because hitters thinking, they're always playing this guessing game. The hitter's thinking, there's no way he's going to throw me another first pitch fastball.
After what I did with the first one.
Yeah.
So a cutter on the outside corner. I owe you a nickel.
You didn't bet against me.
I don't like carrying loose change.
You're more into the hundreds and big bills.
Yeah, that's me.
Big bills, yeah.
Big shooter. 1 strike to Smith. Down and in. Another nice block by Suzuki. All the innings he's pitched, and now Hughes is over 130 innings. Just 9 ground ball double plays. So he is not of the Kyle Gibson, Mike Pelfrey ilk who will have a runner at first and get 2 outs with 1 pitch very often.
Well, Phil is kind of known to elevate his pitches. He likes pitching up in the zone. He gets a lot of fly balls, pop-ups, because unlike Gibson, who tries to pitch down in the zone, for the most part, Hughes is pitching up in the zone. Like that one right there.
I heard your Sunday morning radio show, and I thought you brought up a good point with Paul Molitor when you talked about, and the Twins have changed the guard here. My goodness, new manager, new pitching coach, and all that. But it's more difficult in your mind, and I think Paul agreed with you, to get a veteran to buy into something new when they've had success doing something old.
No question about it. It's like they want to go to the old well and say, this has worked for me and it continues to work for me.
Another strikeout
on an off-speed pitch. So Phil is making that adjustment now here. And well, he got the last out of the last inning against Jackson, a strikeout on a breaking ball, and now against Seth Smith, he's used the off-speed pitch and the breaking ball. I think that's just a changeup right there.
And I think we saw Phil use that in the middle innings rather effectively against the Yankees. A couple of left-handed batters struck out on that pitch. Here's Gutierrez, and a strike.
First pitch, curveball, strike.
You know, how do you, because Bert has talked about it, you talk about it. Starting pitcher needs to go out there and establish his fastball, which, I mean, might Phil Hughes not rebut and say, look, you guys want me to throw curveballs and all that. I'm trying to establish my fastball.
See, it's all a perception of who you're arguing. You know, are you with Phil or are you with us? Because we can argue on both sides. You're absolutely right in both cases.
Foul back.
And that's what makes this game so fun and so challenging, is you do have to establish your fastball. But the whole league knows that Phil's got that. I mean, this isn't it's no mystery to anybody that Phil Hughes throws a lot of fastballs early in counts. So he can show that a few times to certain hitters. He doesn't have to throw it to every hitter all the way through, although I've said off the air to you that if I can go through the first inning, throw nothing but fastballs, that's what I'm going to try to do.
2 strikes and now a ball.
My point is that in the first inning alone, 5 of the 6 first pitches he threw were fastballs, and 3 of the first 6 were hit hard. Now, I might make an adjustment. He got through the inning. He gave up a couple runs. Twins came right back and got him a 3-run lead, so it's worked out. But sometimes you have to make that adjustment quicker, because you never know what you're going to get offensively.
1-2. Tap foul. The rebuttal to the rebuttal, I guess, you would say, is, look, your fastball was established in 2014.
Right.
You don't have to do that anymore. So now you need to establish some of the other stuff. 49 fastballs and or 69%, 49 pitches, and 7 out of 10 have been fastballs. 1-2. That's loop behind first, and that's a base hit. Seager around second to third, and that appeared to be on an off-speed pitch, with Gutierrez dropping one down the right field line. 2 singles, 2 strikeouts, and now Mark Trumbo. Trumbo with a ground ball to Sano his first time up, hit a 2-hopper. Sano charged, got the second hop and tagged the runner Gutierrez, who was right in front of him. Tapper headed up the middle. Nice play. Polanco fires, and Dozier can't quite dig out a low throw. The only play he had was at second, and if he had thrown on the fly on target, it might have been a close play. A run score. Seager in from third on what will probably be an infield hit. And it's a 6-3 ball game. Tying run now coming to the plate.
Well, they're going to rule it a base hit.
Yep. Don't know whether Dozier, if he'd gotten an airborne throw, might have been able to stretch out and get the out. 3 singles, A run back for the Mariners. It's a 6-3 game, and here's Miller tapping the first pitch foul. Miller's got some pop with 8 home runs. Swing and a miss, challenging him with a high fastball. Oh, and 2. Got him. That cutter that was so effective against lefties last year, hitting the outside corner. The Mariners get one to leave 2.
Is presented by Century Link, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Good start for the Twins with a 5-run first. Another run added in the second. Already 3 home runs against J-Happ. Rosario hitting the biggest home run, a 3-run home run in the first. Polanco getting some words from the manager, Paul Molitor, maybe about that ground ball up the middle. Two 2-0 to Rosario. Had a 2-0 pitch. Hanging breaking ball and clubbed it into the seats in right. Now a swing and a miss. It was not a 2-0 count. I believe it was a 2-1 count. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. The Oliva with a batting championship in 1964. Some distinguished names there, and you tend to forget that Rod Carew only hit .292 when he won the Rookie of the Year in 1967. Nothing wrong with a .292 average. Line to left center field. Another extra base hit for Rosario. How many? He's got triples in back-to-back games, and he'll take a big turn and get back to second base. Man, is this guy fun to watch swing the bat. Pulled a home run to right. He's got incredible power to left center field, and it's a leadoff double in the third.
When you see a guy be able to go the other way with that kind of power, and I think that's his favorable part of the field to hit, and mainly because he's been pitched away a lot. He goes with the pitch, but he's been peppering that gap in left center on a consistent basis. And that's got to certainly make everybody in that Twins dugout, that man in particular, very happy, because they always tell you to go with the pitch. You know, don't be pull happy. Don't try to lift and separate. Drive the ball where it's pitched.
Here's Escobar. Well, just think now what we've seen from Rosario. The home runs have gone over there. Most of them. The triples have gone there. The doubles have gone there.
Well, and yet he's able to turn on a pitch like he did in the first inning and drive one to right field.
1-0 to Escobar, and he trying to hit the ball to the right side, lifts it foul. A couple of extra base hits against left-hander Jay Happ, and that is remarkable. The scouting report we got from Paul Molitor on Rosario was when they called him up, really doesn't make any difference, righty lefty. He just loves to hit. Taken low, and it's 2-1.
You know, when you and I started out in junior high, we kind of started that way, but it went downhill from there. He just kept it going.
Speak for yourself.
So, wanted to see if you were paying attention.
I couldn't hit in junior high.
No.
Chopper, and that's a fair ball. And Rosario stuck at second base. Nice play by Seager.
Yeah, he did a good job of going and getting that ball, because it probably one more hop would have been foul, but he realized that Escobar didn't get out of the box real quick, so he kind of took a quick shuffle step. You can see Escobar kind of watching that ball. Seager just went and got it, hit the line. He might have been able to block out the third base umpire. Mike Malinsky was maybe blocked out a little bit.
He was in front of the third base bag, so that was a home plate umpire's call. Here's Suzuki. Twins trying to take advantage of the leadoff double. What you'd like, if you're Tom Bernansky and Paul Molitor, is to just be relentless. 5 runs in the first, 1 in the second. Okay, leadoff double. Let's have, if we're going to make it out, let's make sure they're productive outs. Let's do the little things. This team has hit 3 home runs here tonight, but we all know. Popped up right side. Long run for Taylor. We all know that this team is not going to make the playoffs based on its home run power, even though we've seen more of it in July. 2 down, and that'll bring up Polanco. Polanco had a bouncer to short his first time up.
The Mariners, one of the worst teams in baseball with runners in scoring position, and that has been really an Achilles heel for them. The Twins, on the other hand, are somewhere in the middle, and I think you can always improve in that department.
Down and away.
But there's no question those are the things that managers, hitting coaches, just want to pound into every hitter's head, is just don't let off the throttle. Pick up those runs when you get a chance. You don't get them every day. You're not always going to have guys in scoring position, so when you do, just really focus on having not only good pitches to hit, but doing something with them when you get them.
Down the right field line, and a base hit with 2 outs. Polanco with an RBI single, advancing Rosario beyond third, scoring him from second, and the Twins have scored in all 3 innings.
Just what we were talking about right there. You get a ball out away from you, don't miss it, make something good happen. He hits it solidly the other way, shoots it out to right field, picks up that RBI.
Dozier started the Twins comeback with a long home run to left. Bad sign when your leadoff man, or the other team's leadoff man, is batting 3 times in the first 3 innings. And yet no activity in the Seattle bullpen.
Well, J-Hap's going to have to take one for the team. They need him to go at least 5, if at all possible. Pitch count being the only thing that they're really going to have to keep an eye on. They're not going to abuse him with 140 pitches, but already 69 pitches here, and we're not out of the 3rd.
Not that the Mariners would get a bundle for Happ, but he had 5 okay starts out of 6 coming out of June and into July. In this day and age, I mean, so much focus made on Hamels and Cueto and Price being dealt. Teams are looking for the Mike Fiers of the world too, guys to fill out the rotation of contending teams. Remember last year the Twins traded Kevin Correa to the Dodgers because the Dodgers, as pitching rich as they were, needed some help in the back end of the rotation. There's a market for those guys. You just don't hear much about them, and Happ hasn't cooperated by having 2 awful starts in his last 2 starts. 3-0 to Dozier. And a strike.
The Blue Jays signed J-Hap 2 years ago to a 3-year contract. And when they signed him to that contract, there was a lot of people in Toronto that raised their eyebrows because at the time they didn't need to do that, and he wasn't pitching all that great for the Jays. And so there was a lot of question, why would they do that? Well, because in their opinion, it was a contract that could make him marketable in case they moved him. And he did progress and get better, and they decided to maybe upgrade. There would be a lot of teams looking for a lefty.
Popped up.
That's exactly what's happened.
Popped up center field. Jackson under it. Twins got a big 2-out hit from Jorge Polanco to add another run in the 3rd. Series brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. On with Kevin Gork, Jack Morris, and Dick Bramer for the opener. If the clouds lift here, well, we expect to see our second full moon of the month of July, which probably not a big deal, but it doesn't happen very often, and we call that the blue moon. Did you know that?
I thought that was a cerveza.
A ball line to left in the corner and out of the reach of Eddie Rosario. Chris Taylor going to second, and he's going to hold up there with a leadoff double. Mariners have 3 leadoff hits against Phil Hughes. They got a leadoff double in the first and scored a couple of runs.
It hasn't been easy for Phil so far. 8 hits already in this game. But he's been battling, and it's these leadoff hits where he's got to pitch out of the stretch. Another ball left out over the middle of the plate. believe that was his cutter that just didn't cut. And like a hanging slider, a cutter that doesn't move that 3-4 inches that you want it to off the heart of the plate is very hittable.
Mike Zunino popped up right field, under to the corner. It's an out. Tagging from second, Taylor. He'll go to third base, one away. That'll bring up Austin Jackson. Sanford Health injury report. Robinson Cano had been moved to the cleanup spot, and he was finally hitting the ball very well and being a big-time run producer for the Mariners. But he had suffered a bit of an abdominal strain, not worth putting on the disabled list. But they do want to sit him down. He sat yesterday and today, might sit tomorrow and DH by the end of the weekend.
So I know you read a lot of doctor books in your spare time. Is an abdominal strain different than the oblique injury?
Yes. And I'm just going to give you my medical impression. I'm not saying this is the definitive answer. Abdominal strain is more on the front and the oblique is on the side.
There we go.
Now I'm sure people follow me on Twitter have far advanced medical background than I just betrayed. How little I have. But I'm thinking that's for the layman an accurate portrayal.
We just wanted to get in the general neighborhood. That's all. That's why I asked.
1-1. Jackson with a double and a run scored, a strikeout to end the second inning. Playing with a 4-run lead. Twins have the infield back. This one chipped foul into the seats. Now Sano's playing about even with the bag at third, so if Jackson pulls the ball to him, they'll try to keep Taylor from scoring.
Important out for Phil Hughes right here. He's given up the 3 runs already in 3 innings. He's pitching in the 4th inning. Twins have got a nice comfortable lead, a 4-run cushion for him, but if he could get an out here, he can maybe get out of this inning, and it's been a little bit of a battle for him, but he gets through 4 with only allowing the 3 runs, and then he could get on a roll.
Deep to left center field. Chased by Rosario. That ball is gone into the bullpen. And the Mariners have answered with 2 more. They scored in 3 of the 4 innings so far against Phil Hughes. This game is far from over.
And balls are certainly flying out of Target Field at a rate that we haven't seen ever. And it's by guys wearing all sorts of different uniforms, including the Twins home uniform. I just want to bear witness that more balls are going to fly out when they're crossing that white thing on the ground called home plate. When they center cut that, they seem to fly further than when they are on the black part of that same plate.
Seager with a single and a run scored. He's hit the ball hard twice. In his first at bat, he lined out to Mauer. Mariners actually out hitting the Twins now, 9-8. Not only did the Twins lose the 2 games to the Pirates, but they were just bad games. They were ugly games, long games. And of course, it's important good teams find a way to win those, but what the Twins don't want is for this to be just another bad game, and it's not off to a good start for either team. 2-1. Still only 1 out here in the 4th. 2-2.
Neither manager wants to have to activate their bullpen here. It's only the 4th inning. You know, they, as I say that, of course, the Twins are getting some rumbling out there. But they would like to get some innings out of both these pitchers, and Phil Hughes has been the guy the Twins have gone the deepest with over the year.
Tap to the right side and foul.
Pitched 7 innings, shutout ball his last time, allowing no home runs. We want to emphasize that because we've been kind of picking on him with home runs, it seems like. And he was able to avoid the long ball against a hot hitting Yankee team in his last start.
Just missed the outside corner with that cutter, and it isn't just the home runs here. It's the 4 doubles that have been mixed in. 9 hits and 6 extra base hits.
There's no little flares in this game for either team. The balls have all been hit hard. They're clean base hits, doubles, triples.
Swung at ball 4, lazy fly to left. An important swing there by Seager because Cruz is on deck, and had Seager walked, Cruz would have represented the tying run. Well, softball hitters enjoyed hitting in the confines.
Yeah, they jinxed it for everybody here today. Here I thought it was going to be a 1-0 game, and those softball guys came in and were hitting them 500 feet.
Cruz with the bases empty, 2 down. Another sharp hit. This is numbers-wise going to be one of Phil Hughes' worst starts, as he gives up his 10th hit. And now Smith, who homered in the first inning, comes to the plate representing the tying run.
Well, it's going to be a challenge for Phil just to get through 5 and walk away with a lead to maybe have a chance to win this game. Starting pitchers, of course, have to go 5 innings in order to be eligible for the win. And I know it's going to be hard for Paul Molitor to watch Phil just kind of struggling with his command. A lot of balls hit hard. Certainly doesn't want to embarrass him in any way, shape, or form, but sometimes guys just don't have it early.
Speed pitch missing, down and in.
And you can tell the body language of Phil Hughes, just a little bit of a frustrating feeling. He's just trying to fight it and start locating a little bit better.
21 at bats, and the Mariners have 10 hits. And there's a strike, 1-1. Of course, no walks, and the strike percentage very good, 70%. It's outstanding, but it's the quality of the strikes and the comfortable nature in which the Mariner batters have been standing in the batter's box. 1-1. Swing and a miss. Hughes actually struck out the side in the 3rd inning. Gave up 3 singles and a run, but also struck out Cruz, Smith, and Miller. You see Fiend getting loose. One and 2. Just missed outside. He got that call in the Miller at bat to wrap up the 3rd inning. Cutter near the outside corner. And he's just missed with it twice in this inning.
Changeup.
Poke to right. Barrel of the bat on it, but he hit it to Hunter to end the inning. Mariners get 2 back in the 4th. We've got a ball game here with Aaron Hicks leading off the 4th inning. 7-5, the Twins out slugging the Mariners so far. Carsoup.com trivia. Who is the Mariners' all-time leader in wins by a pitcher?
It's not that guy.
It's not that left-hander?
No, it could be another tall one, though.
Mark Lang.
Taller. Just winning.
You don't know, and I don't know, so we're just guessing along with our viewers, right?
Yeah, I'm just guessing. They have not.
How many did Gaylord Perry get? He got his 300.
Got his 100 there, but aren't we talking as a Mariner?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. There's Hicks, 1-0. And a strike call. Good night at the plate already for Hicks. 3 hits yesterday. Single and a run scored in the first. It was a bullet to left. He clobbered one into the bullpen for his 5th home run of the year. Hitting .297. It's a tapper in front of Seager, and no chance. 3 for 3.
When you're hot, you're hot.
And Hicks might very well have a 300 batting average by the time he hits next. Mauer will hit next.
That ball couldn't have been bunted any better than where it was placed. And Aaron Hicks, a very fast runner, gets out of the box quickly and accelerates down the line.
As he's gotten bigger, he might be a little bit slower than he was when he was first called up a couple years ago, but still speed is a tool that he has. We see it in the outfield, and we see it in the infield as well. Here's Mauer. Fastball and a strike. Vittner, outstanding stats guy, figured it out. Took his abacus out, and right in front of you and I, he determined that Aaron Hicks now has a .301 batting average.
See, you throw the dog a bone, the dog responds.
Just off the outside corner, 1-1. Mauer lined out to left. He was called out on strikes in the second. Mariners finally have some activity in their bullpen. Twins now with 9 hits. Was the pitch that struck Mauer out in the second. It's called ball 2 here in the 4th.
Now Joe Mauer, you know, even though he's had consecutive games of hitting, and you know he's picking up a hit a game, he's the kind of guy that can really make a difference for the Twins if he could start driving the ball in the gaps a little bit more and picking up a few more RBI himself.
2-2 now.
It's kind of been a little bit under the radar here with all the young players doing so well. And Twins fans kind of let it slide with Joe, but Joe himself would probably admit that he would like to see a lot better results than just a few singles here and there.
It's been an odd month for Joe in that regard because the batting average in July has been really good, but yet just 4 runs driven in. 2-2. And another throw to first. Former closer Tom Wilhelmsen warming up in the 4th inning. Mariner bullpen so good last year has been a sore spot this year. There's a called 3rd strike, 2nd time in a row that Mauer has been called out on strikes, and Lloyd McClendon sprints out of the dugout. He's seen enough of Jay Happ here tonight. So Wilhelmsen will come in to face Sano and batters beyond, and a pitching change for the Mariners in the 4th. Sports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more info, visit foxsportsupports.com. Tom Wilhelmsen, the season that has seen the Mariner bullpen be quite combustible, now evolving and revolving roles. Wilhelmsen years ago was a closer, pitched at the end of the game. And now he's being asked to get some big outs for the Mariners here in the 4th inning. Fernando Rodney was their closer. He's been removed from that role as the Mariners figure he's been tipping his pitches and want him to kind of reprogram himself. Here's Sano with 1 out and 1 on. Sano reached on an error on a dribbler by the mound and then also walked. Outside, ball 1.
Teams are always talking about they need help in the bullpen. And a lot of times the reason the bullpen is exposed is because starting pitching hasn't done their part. And all of a sudden the bullpen's been asked to throw more. And in the case of Seattle anyway, I think that's the case. They're throwing more innings than they should, especially as of late.
Fox Tracks presented by Chrysler. 2-0 to Sano. Called strike over the inside corner with Sano looking over the middle of the plate.
When you're looking away, you get a ball in like that, it's not a bad idea to take the pitch. You're still ahead in the count.
And now a high strike call, 2-2. 2 strikes. See what Sano can get done.
Fastball away.
Ooh, he left it over the middle of the plate. Sano had a real good swing at it. That nearly drilled St. Paul rider Mike Berardino. It's hit right at him.
Let me guess, he dropped it.
His fielding, independent of pitching, just took a hit.
Well, it's kind of like us. It's a lot easier up here.
2-2. As the Mariners keep scoring, the Twins would like to do the same. 2-2 to Sano. There goes Hicks, and the pitch is a called 3rd strike, and Hicks steals second base. He's done a little bit of everything here tonight. Sano squawks at Mark Wegner as he leaves home plate.
Well, I think he was just fooled, and I think that was a pitcher's pitch. Caught the inside part of the plate. We'll take a look at it again. I think it's a strike. Looked to me like it was right on the corner. Hicks gets a very, very good jump, easily getting down to second base. We get a better look at it right here. Could have been a little high. Rookies can't argue a whole lot, can they?
Here's Hunter.
Never does any good anyway.
Twins got a run in the 3rd on Polanco's 2-out base hit. Now they'll need one from Hunter. Toronto beat Kansas City 5-2. Detroit leading Baltimore 9-4 and a 7. Orioles threatening against a stripped Tiger team. Hunter waves at it, misses 0-2. Tigers trading David Price, Joaquim Soria. You can only wonder whether Yoenis Cespedes isn't going to be the next man out the door. 2 strikes to Hunter. Foul back. See Wilhelmsen can still bring it. We saw 95 earlier. That fastball clocked at 97.
You saw the catcher, Mike Zunino, kind of want that ball up. He indicated get the ball up, and then Wilhelmsen threw the ball right over the middle of the plate. He didn't get it up where he wanted it. Now he wants him to drop the ball, get it down in the zone.
And Hunter takes a breaking ball inside, 1-2.
Catchers can be really good cheerleaders for your pitching just by some of their body language. Tapping the glove in the dirt a lot of times. Don't worry about it. Throw the ball down here. I'll block it for you.
And a breaking ball now evens the count.
A fist pump or a head nod like Zunino just showed gives a pitcher confidence, saying, hey, you missed it, but that's where we wanted it. It can really do a lot to help pitchers, especially young pitchers.
And now ball 3 with Rosario on deck. It's trying to build something here in the 4th with 2 out. They've scored in every inning so far and now have Hicks in scoring position with 2 out. And Zunino with a quick trip to the mound. There's been a lot of traffic out to that mound. On the Seattle side, Phil Hughes, I don't believe, has had a trip to the mound yet. He hasn't pitched well, but at least he's kept the pitching coach in the dugout. Full count to Hunter. Breaking ball pulled behind third. Seager stays with a tough hop and makes a fine play to retire Hunter and keep the Twins off the board in the 4th. You're watching the Mariners and Twins, brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. Fans of the game on an absolutely gorgeous night here, and the Twins with a lead, and Phil Hughes, who's not had a 1-2-3 inning, hoping for one here in the 5th. Slow breaking ball, missing, ball 1.
I concur with all of them.
It's a pleasant night, and Phil Hughes wants a 1-2-3 inning.
All of that, and a great crowd again.
Swing and a miss. Gutierrez, Trumbo, and Miller in the Seattle 5th. Sooner or later, that blue moon is going to appear. That'll make it not that blue moon. You've not heard that
I want to know
that astronomical term
yeah,
before?
Of course I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have. But I quite honestly have never looked up in the sky on that blue moon to see if it's blue.
Yeah, I'm sure it isn't. I don't know how it got its name.
Okay, that's what I was looking for, is the explanation.
Nor do I know how the beer got its name, so I can't help you there either. 2-2.
We'll just go ahead and move on.
One of the great things about the race as it is and the balance, at least in the American League, just about every game is an important game. Down and away, and Gutierrez is called out on strikes to start the 5th inning.
Off-speed breaking ball right there that Gutierrez, after seeing plenty of the fastballs, he finally got something that he's out in front of.
And he did go. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand in True HD with MLB.TV Premium. Since just about every game is important, we strongly recommend that. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. MLB.TV Premium includes a free at-bat 15 subscription. Watch live baseball on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Anthony LaPanta himself has 17 of those devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 1-1 now to Mark Trumbo. Trumbo with a single his last time up. It was an infield hit. Ground ball hit behind second. And Polanco made a play but couldn't get the out. And now outside 2-1. There it is. There's the blue moon. It's peeking up between the skyscrapers. Second full moon in a month is the blue moon. Fly ball right field. Hunter jogs in. 2 down.
So what you're telling me is the phrase "once in a blue moon," it's rare because it's twice in a month.
Not very often it happens. I think the last time I heard on the news today, I believe it's the first time since 2012 that it's happened. And it's not full now. It's about a quarter, at least visibly to us.
Yeah.
But trust me, later on tonight, it's going to be quite a sight. Here's Miller. Phil Hughes might have his 1-2-3 inning. A fly ball into the twilight. Hicks with the catch. And a 1-2-3 fifth.
Steve, we're in the middle of the Minnesota State Lottery winner's circle, and you make a sign, you might get circled. 7th time is the charm, and even though Bert's on vacation, this works out perfectly because the guy in the booth won the most important Game 7 in baseball history, in our opinion. Jack Morris, Game 7, 1991. You stayed with it. We got the blue moon tonight. We learned that from Dick in the booth. How exciting is this? You got Grandma next to you in from South Dakota, and you win $100 in scratch-off tickets.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's our 7th year here, and Grandma's here, and my cousins and my kids. It's great.
Once in a blue moon. You've heard that phrase, right? So now you have something to say besides the sign that was lucky for you here at Target Field.
Yes, absolutely. Blue moon is a lucky night.
And Grandma's got her blue shirt on, jacket. All ties together back to your Game 7 win, thanks to the Minnesota State Lottery. 100 scratch-off tickets going back to South Dakota with Grandma tonight.
Very nice. Got a lot.
Oh, Kev, thanks.
Great Twins fans from South Dakota. Here, of course, about 17 miles from Blunt, South Dakota. Go south and west a little bit on Highway 14. Not far from Gettysburg, South Dakota. Here's Rosario. 3-run home run and a double already. You never know what type of hitter, or predicting a guy who could hit for the cycle is always a little iffy. Sometimes the unlikely players will do it, but Rosario strikes me as a guy who someday in his career might hit for the cycle. Might do it tonight for that matter. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Triples always being the toughest of the hits to get the cycle, from what we're told. You have to have some speed or else some luck. The ball's got to ricochet around in the corner or something. But that's always the tough one, although the home run's never easy either.
To the right field corner, he might have another extra base hit.
Get a triple.
He's going to round second. He's going to try for third. All he needs is a single. A home run in the first, a double in the third, and now a triple in the 5th.
Big night for Eddie Rosario. Breaking ball down that he went down and got, and that's what Tom Bernansky and Paul Molitor talk about with Eddie Rosario, that he stays on a ball. He can have some bad swings on pitches that aren't even strikes, but he still somehow barrels up the ball, and there's the leg speed that we talked about for the cycle. He goes for it, and even with a good throw, I think he was going to be in safe.
Infield in now with Escobar at the plate. Strike on the outside corner. The last Twin to hit for the cycle was Michael Kadire. You wouldn't think of Michael as being a triples guy, but he got one. Jason Kubel was the second most recent guy to hit for the cycle, and Kubel didn't hit many triples. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2, and the matter at hand here, Escobar needs to get Rosario in from third base. Carlos Gomez got it, not surprising. Kirby Puckett, Gary Ward. Don't remember Mike Cubbage getting a whole lot of triples in his career. Lyman Bostock, Larry Heisel, Cesar Tovar, Rod Carew, sure. Well, we're in the 5th inning, and Rosario might get a couple of chances to get a single and complete the cycle. 1-2. The oddest cycle in a Twins game was Travis Hafner, who did it at the Metrodome, and I remember the day vividly. He got a Metrodome triple. Here's the ball tapped to the right side. Rosario's going to try to come home. A terrible throw by Taylor, and Rosario scores. Escobar reaches, and the Twins add a run in the 5th. Zunino did a good job catching that ball or blocking it and keeping Escobar from going to second.
Well, that's why Gene Glenn will even send a runner on contact, let him know that while he's right in front of him on the third baseline, you're going on contact, and that's exactly what Rosario does. It's going to take a good throw, and sometimes by having the runner go who has speed, it puts pressure on the infielders to make that good throw. They sometimes yank it, like that one right there. And Chris Taylor could have had a better throw, but either way, the Twins manufacture a run with a ball that should not have gotten that run in.
Here's Suzuki. And Zunino, with a little help from Suzuki, is able to keep Escobar at first. Suzuki with a single in the first and a pop up to short right field in the third. Boston might be cooling off the White Sox tonight. They're in the 6th inning at Fenway Park, leading 7-2. Royals have already lost. Another pop up to short right. Taylor out again. This time it's the right fielder Cruz making the catch in about the same spot Suzuki hit his pop up in the third. One down. Polanco back.
Both Taylor and Cruz were calling for that ball, and it's going to be the outfielder who has priority. But I don't know as though second baseman Chris Taylor heard Nelson Cruz yelling.
Polanco as a right-handed batter delivered a 2-out RBI single to right in the third. Ball one. Twins like his bat from both sides of the plate.
Casey Fiend thrown again in the Twins bullpen.
Up and away. Looks like Fiend might get the 6th inning here.
Yeah. It's been a little tough going for Phil Hughes, giving up 10 hits, but he did have a 1-2-3 fifth.
Up and away now, 3-0.
Phil's pitch count at 84. Typically he would get another inning or two. We'll wait and see what Paul Molitor does.
Polanco takes a strike.
But typically relief pitchers aren't throwing in between innings unless they're coming in, especially this time of the game.
Yeah, Phil or Fiend rather warmed up in what, the 4th inning and then sat down for the 5th. And most managers don't like to warm somebody up a second time unless they know they're coming in. Wilhelmsen got the last 2 outs of the 4th. Rosario doubled to the right field corner. Twins scored him on a fielder's choice. The lead has grown back to 3. Now inside, Polanco takes a walk. Bottom of the order getting on base here in the 5th inning. That'll bring up Dozier. Well, the Twins have witnessed 40 home runs hit here this month by them and their opponents.
And I gotta believe it's not the concrete, it's the hot air, hot humidity.
Okay.
Concrete, yeah, I'm buying into it a little bit. I do believe there's something to that, but I believe more in that hot air just seems to have balls carry more no matter what ballpark you're in.
And no matter what ball, you can get a golf ball warmer in July than you can in March. 1-0 to Dozier. He started the comeback for the Twins, remembering that the Mariners got a first inning home run to take a 2-0 lead. Dozier hitting his 22nd of the year. Now he takes low. It's 2-0. We can talk about the importance of starting pitching, and the Twins this year have been exhibit A on what competent starting pitching can do to your prospects of having a winning season. But without question, one of the reasons the Twins have struggled now in June and July, the team will go as far as its bullpen will take them in this day and age. That's why the Mariners are 10 games below 500. It's one of the main reasons that they have been playing largely an uncompetitive season. Guys like Wilhelmsen and others just haven't had the years they had last year. Over for a strike, 3-1. And I know as a starting pitcher,
you're going to get an argument out of this. Oh, I was waiting.
3-1. Inside, a walk will load the bases now for Hicks. And Hicks already has 3 hits tonight. As great as the Tigers were in '84, and you were by far the best team with Rick Waite's making yet another trip to the mound. The league MVP that year was your closer, Willie Hernandez, in 1984. And you had other guys that set him up. And I'm just trying to make the point that the Mariners have just had a disastrous season because the bullpen has been a disaster.
I think the only way that you can win without a great bullpen is to have great starters, and it has to be all right. It has to be the whole rotation that can have the ability, and you don't see it as much in today's game as you did a decade or two ago. The ability to get deep into a game, and by deep nowadays, 7 innings. Deep a couple generations ago was a complete game, or at least 8+, and then all of a sudden you only need the one guy. But nowadays you're seeing the Royals change the way the game's played with 3 guys. So starters only have to be adequate. They have to get through 5 or 6.
Rosario 3 for 3. Hicks 3 for 3. Corner infielders up. And this is what you were talking about before. Hicks is a right-handed batter, got 3 hits. That's his preferred side. That's the side he switched full-time to last year. But he has balanced his batting average a little bit to where he's still formidable, capable from the right side or from the left side against righties. Checks his swing. No swing, and it's 1-1.
These are the situations I know. If I know Aaron Hicks at all, these are the ones where he really wants to shine, is with base runners. And it's a little bit harder sometimes because pitchers understand that hitters can be over aggressive, especially young hitters. So they might be less willing to throw a ball over the middle if he feels that he can get the hitter out.
To swing again,
where the hitter gets himself out. And Aaron Hicks showing patience here. And this is the development part of what we've been talking about. Not offering at pitches that are borderline. Trying to zone in on a pitch that you can drive, at least until the count's favorable for you.
2-1. Down the line. Foul by about 4 feet. And Hicks driving the ball from both sides of the plate.
Well, he got a ball that he liked right there, and he hit it hard. You can see it, considerable foul down the right field corner, but the fact that he drove it with a little bit of authority, he's spot on with his swing. He might get a different look here.
Well, let's bring this up on a night when we might have a rarity, a cycle. Only 4 Twins have homered from both sides of the plate. Smalley, Roy Smalley, Chili Davis, and Ryan Doman. Just outside 3-2 and no place to put him.
Wow, tough pitch to take. And that's a pitcher's pitch right there. It's off the plate, and yet there's a lot of guys, especially in that count, are going to have a hack at it. And it's just a great job by Aaron Hicks to be able to take that pitch. Now it's a case where the pitcher has to throw a strike.
And he threw an off-speed pitch, a breaking pitch to strike Hicks out. 2 down.
Pulled the string right there, and he threw it perfectly. Lloyd McClellan going to come out and make another move.
That's a straight change up.
Straight change, got him way out front, but
8-5. Twins with a chance to push out the lead even more here in the 5th. can spend your summer at Target Field and watch the moon in whatever shape it's in. Become a Twins season ticket holder with the new Pick 10 plan. 10 games against the opponents that you want to see the Twins beat. You can enjoy sweet spot benefits exclusive to Twins season ticket holders, including 10% off game day food and merchandise at Target Field. Learn more about package options by visiting twinsbaseball.com/pick10 or by calling 612-33-TWINS. Former Twin Joe Bible will try to keep this game within reach for the Mariners.
So one of the great baseball names, at least in my opinion, one of the great baseball names of all time, Blue Moon Ono.
Right.
Was he born on a blue moon, or
I don't know.
We got to do some research on that one too.
Let's see what Mauer does here. He's had a frustrating night. Called out on strikes twice and lining up to left on a first inning liner to the corner, hit it right at Seth Smith. Taking up high, ball one.
Well, Tom Bernanski always talking about adding on. And the Twins did score a run with Rosario's triple, a sacrifice RBI by Escobar. But Escobar now at third base, bases loaded.
1-0. In the left field corner, it'll be chased by Smith. And no play in foul territory, did not make the catch.
Well, this ball didn't have enough carry to go over, so Joe Mauer might have caught a break. So Smith running out of room there, and he'll get another chance.
One and one to Mauer. The way this game's been played, I don't know that you could have a fifth inning knockout punch. But a double here would go a long way toward feeling here, getting the people here to feel a little easier. It's to short center, right at Jackson, and the Twins leave the bases full. They did get one in the fifth, and now lead by 3.
Sports update. This weekend, the Twins will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the 1965 World Series matchup with the Dodgers. Our coverage of Twins baseball begins tomorrow at 6:30, and then on Saturday, tune in at 5:30 for special live coverage of the ceremony honoring that 1965 Twins team. All this weekend on Fox Sports North.
8-5, Twins in front. Looking forward to being a part of that. We've got a big breakfast tomorrow morning, and then emceeing the on-field ceremony Saturday.
Great year for me. 65. I remember third grade. Our teacher was kind enough to let us watch one of the World Series
You know how
games.
to pick at a scab, don't you? Because my teacher wouldn't let us do that.
Well, I can't help it that I had a nicer teacher than you.
Twins leading by 3. Casey Fiend in the game, and he wants to put up a couple of quick zeros. Everything Casey does is quick. He wants to have a couple of quick innings here. Chris Taylor, the batter. Taylor, Zunino, and Jackson. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Fiend, like the rest of the Twins relievers, have had a difficult stretch as of late. Casey gave up a couple of runs to the Pirates 2 nights ago. This is a spot in the game where we sometimes have seen J.R. Graham, but he pitched an inning and 2/3 yesterday. Fiend with an inning, gave up a couple of runs to the Yankees. A couple of scoreless outings before that. Here's Graham. 1-2. To right, chased by Hunter. He's got it measured, 1 down. Not only have there been a lot of hits and a lot of extra base hits, but there have been some loud outs. Here is Zunino.
Well, you've seen a lot of fastballs in this game, both by Jay Happ earlier, by Phil Hughes, and of course Casey Fiend. He throws a lot of fastballs, so guys square them up. They're going to go.
Zunino with 1 out. Now, if you really want to know why they call it a blue moon, I have an explanation from a mutual friend of ours.
I'm listening.
Dr. Crutchfield, who I believe you know as well.
I do.
We both consider him a friend. Says it happens about every 3 years. Over the years, due to large volcanic eruptions from forest fires, the blue moon has actually appeared blue at times. And back in the day, when some people thought that the moon was actually made of cheese, the blue tint made them believe at that point it was made of blue cheese. Now, Dr. Crutchfield is a learned man.
He wouldn't make that up.
I don't think he'd make it up. It was first used in the 1937 Maine Farmer's Almanac, and they occur about every 3 years. And by my understanding, we're experiencing one tonight. Some people on Twitter have told me it's actually tomorrow night. But I tell you what, if Rosario hits for the cycle, I'm going with it being under a blue moon tonight. Popped up right side. And Mauer watches it drift out of play. Two and two from Fiend to Zunino. Hughes retired the Mariners 1-2-3 in the 5th, then left the ball game. Now squirted off the end of the bat. Mauer will go to the bag, 2 away here in the 6th.
So Casey coming out like you said. Throw strikes, going to come right at you. Try to work fast. He's gotten 2 quick outs.
Austin Jackson, the batter, hit a 2-run home run to the bullpen in left center in the 4th. Missing inside, ball 1. Detroit trying to protect a 9-7 lead in the 8th inning after, you like the term raising the white flag for teams that trade their better players this time of year?
Well, I think that's a little harsh in Detroit's case, but certainly they've decided to go a different direction anyway with David Price and Joaquin Soria anyway.
Strike call, 2-1. And now fouled away, 2-2. At any rate, the Tigers traded their closers, Joaquin Soria, And so the 8th and 9th inning, as adventurous as it's been for the Tigers over the last few years, might be even more adventurous here for the next 2 months.
And quite honestly, when I heard that Soria was traded, I was just trying to figure out, all right, who's going to assume that closer's role in Detroit?
If I understood correctly on Twitter, Bruce Rondon would get that opportunity.
Rondon was the young guy that's had a lot of injuries through hard, and they were hoping that he would assume that role eventually.
And a very busy day in the trade front. There's a chance that the Twins will play back-to-back 4-game series. Seattle and Toronto, and they won't face King Felix in this series, and they won't face the newly acquired David Price in the Toronto series. If Price stays on schedule, he will pitch Sunday against Kansas City. 2-2. Bounce to short. Polanco fires across to Mauer, and Fiend has his 1-2-3-6. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's. Have bold for breakfast with the new chorizo burrito from McDonald's. Mariners had a 2-0 lead. Twins have had a good night at the plate. Miguel Sano due to get a hit. One thing that's been pretty consistent about Sano, he's been able to find a way to get on base through hits, walks. He will strike out as he did in the 4th, but he's due to get a base hit here against Joe Beimel. Outside, 2-0.
Well, he has a presence. There's no question. He's a big, strong man. If any of the opposition come out early and watch him take BP, that's not a good idea, especially if you're a pitcher. You don't want to see this guy hit big batting practice.
There's a strike called. 3-1. 2-1. And there's his hit. Trapped in left field by Smith. So Sano gets a sinking line drive single to left. And that'll bring up Torrey Hunter.
He almost hit it too hard. The ball almost had enough carry to get to Seth Smith. Good job by the camera crew there, showing that the ball did hit the ground.
11th Twins hit. First for Sano. Hunter singled and drove in a run in the 1st. And then Rosario will hope to get a single. Swing and a miss. Late on first offering from Beimel. 0-1. Double play grounder, bobbled by the shortstop, and they get one. That's all they'll get. Hunter will reach on a fielder's choice, and Eddie Rosario in his rookie season has a chance to make some baseball history in his next at bat.
Well, he started his first hit, a home run over the right field porch out there. And then he gets the double, a gapper out to left center, puts on the brakes, and then the triple into right field corner. Good time for Nelson Cruz to get to that ball, and Eddie just flies around second base looking for triple all the way.
Needing just a single. Outside, ball one. You look at the list of Twins who've done it quickly. Carew, Tovar, Heisel, Bostock, Cubbage, Ward, Puckett, Gomez, Kubel, Kadire. Some interesting omissions. Tony Oliva never hit for the cycle. You'd think he might have done it 2 or 3 times.
Well, especially when he was young.
Right.
Before his knees got bad.
That's to center, hit well, but playable for Jackson. Rosario lines out for out number 2.
Probably get one more shot at that cycle. Hopefully, anyway.
And that'll bring up Escobar. Twins hope that they're not batting in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Twins need to get a couple more runs or base runners here for that to happen in the 8th. Escobar 0 for 3, drove in a run. And he hit a ground ball to Taylor at second base. And Hunter diving back to the bag.
As left-handers go, Beimel not a very good pickoff move. He lifts his leg, and while he's lifting his leg, he's got his whole body going towards first base. Most base runners can see that lean. It's the guys that have the same delivery going home as they do to first that really can elude the base runner. You can see how he just leans towards the first baseman.
Center field. That's carrying deep. Cruz going back, and he makes the catch on the edge of the track. Rare inning. The Twins didn't score in the 6th. They scored in 4 other innings. You're watching the Mariners and Twins, brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. uncomfortably because there's been a lot of home runs hit on our Grand Casino story of the game.
5 home runs. Seth Smith got it started for the Mariners. Brian Dozier came back in the bottom half of the first inning. He gets a home run. Then later that inning, Eddie Rosario, he sends one out to right field, the 3rd home run of the game. Aaron Hicks got in on the action, right-handed, hits one out to the Twins bullpen. That's your 4th home run of the game. The last one was the Mariners' Austin Jackson. Phil Hughes, he hit one into the bullpen out there. So 13 runs, 21 hits, 5 home runs. Not exactly a pitcher's duel, but the Twins are in front by 3.
And now Casey Fiend will try to duplicate his 6th inning work here in the 7th. Up and away, ball 1. Seager, Cruz, and Smith. And with some good pitching and some good fortune, Twins might not have to face the middle of this Mariner lineup a second time. 1-1. Seager 1 for 3, led off the 3rd with a single, and that was one of Phil Hughes' issues here tonight. Giving up leadoff hits. It's been kind of a ongoing issue here since the All-Star break for particularly the starting pitchers, giving up those leadoff hits and having to pitch from the stretch right away.
Well, you want them to attack the strike zone and get ahead in the count. There's so much importance on being ahead as a pitcher rather than being behind in count. So you get aggressive, you throw it over the middle, and then once in a while hitters are ready for you.
Hit in the air to center, and Hicks in the vicinity makes the catch. 1 away. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong Fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag #NorthDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. 1 down, and here's Cruz, a single in 3 trips. Torrey Hunter, always a willing photo taker. Be curious, and I'm sure the guys from the '65 Twins team coming back for this weekend, they will be having a great time interacting with their adoring fans. A lot of them have kind of disappeared into the vapor, at least in terms of everybody's baseball consciousness, but guys like Sandy Valdespino, who will be coming back.
Oh, I'm sure they'll all be tweeting out their conversations and blogging.
Swing and a miss.
Another good start here for Casey Fiend in the 7th inning.
Two down, and that'll bring up Seth Smith. Trevor May now warming up. You know, this is the sign, an encouraging sign in that to this point. The Twins have had a wobbly start by the starter, and the bullpen so far has been good. Fiend, the only guy out of the pen, but if it's Fiend for 2 innings, May for 1, Perkins for 1, however Paul Molitor wants to stitch the end of this game together, the Twins are going to need a more efficient bullpen than they've had in June and July.
Baseball is a great game. What makes it great is that it's a team game, and there are times where you might not do your job, but somebody can come and pick you up. And when it starts going south for everybody, you've got to say, you know what, I have to do my job. Can't worry about somebody else.
A line drive, 6 up, 6 down for Casey Fiend. A scoreless 6th and 7th. The Twins up by 3. good night for the Twins tonight. It was a great night for the Plouffe last night. Theodore Teddy Winston James Plouffe. Trevor and Olivia welcoming their baby boy into the world yesterday. So we congratulate the Plouffes again. Trevor on the paternity list, which means he can miss one game, and tonight's the second game. No more than 3. Paul Molitor endorsed the notion that Trevor miss all 3 games, so we'll see whether that's what happens and whether Trevor's back with the club tomorrow. Twins are batting now. Kurt Suzuki will lead off the 7th. David Rollins, one of 3 left-handers for the Mariners. Seen Bible, Vidal Nino, the other lefty. Up and away, ball 1. Suzuki with a single in the first inning. Twins scored 5 times in the first. And now 2-0. Suzuki, Polanco, and Dozier. And again, for historic reasons, Twins would like to get some guys on base and give Eddie Rosario a chance to complete the cycle. They need to put 2 men on or score 2 runs to extend to the 8th inning under the assumption that they won't be hitting in the 9th. Raise your hand if you want the Twins to hit in the bottom of the 9th. Nobody in the booth. And Suzuki takes ball 3.
Mariners pitchers really have had trouble getting ahead in counts tonight. That's really given the Twins an advantage.
Pulled foul behind Gene Glenn. Polanco on deck. He's had a productive day. Popped up at center field. Suzuki has hit it in the air 3 times in a row for outs, 1 down. Back to our carsoup.com trivia question, since we've got another left-hander on the mound. I believe it is Randy Johnson who was inducted into the Hall of Fame on Sunday. That's my guess.
Well, you guessed also.
And it's Jamie Moyer.
Jeez, yeah, we didn't even think of Jamie Moyer.
Who's going into the Mariner Hall of Fame. Induction in, I believe, a week and a half in Seattle.
Father time. Jamie Moyer had a long career.
1 strike to Polanco. As he was pitching into his mid-40s and retired, just 2 years ago, I believe. And Polanco to center as a base hit, his 2nd hit. He's also walked, so he's reached his last 3 times. That'll bring up Brian Dozier. But as Moyer was picking up wins into his mid-40s, people thought, well, the numbers are beginning to get there for Hall of Fame consideration.
Well, and this longevity and the fact that he was actually pitching better later in his career than early. It was a lot of doo-doo. It was a lot of slop. But you know what? He was keeping the barrel of the bat off the baseball.
And somebody, this is my argument, well, for you, but also for Tommy John and Jim Cott, somebody was willing to pay them for a long time to try to get big league hitters out. I've never understood the argument that longevity should in some fashion be held against pitchers, or hitters for that matter, to gain entrance into the Hall of Fame.
That's because they were never players. Had they played, they would understand how hard it is to keep wearing a uniform. Jim Cott being the greatest example of all for me.
Dozier at the plate, 0-2. To me, you can't have a double standard, but we do have one. Why has Tony Oliva been kept out of the Hall of Fame? Because they say he didn't play long enough.
Yeah.
He was dominant. He won 3 batting titles. Always getting some MVP votes. Dozier checks his swing.
More importantly, and I know we need to talk about a baseball game here, but in Tony's case, I have talked to some of the dominant pitchers of that era, and the guy they feared the most, Tony Oliva. You know, who in the Writers Bureau or in the old Veterans Committee are asking these guys? That's all they have to do is ask the guys that played against him.
1-2 to Dozier. And now 2-2. Dozier with a home run to start the Twins' comeback in the first. 0 for 2 with a walk since. And now 3-2. Hicks will bat next.
Again, a lot of deep counts for the Mariner pitching staff.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, and safe at second. Dozier strikes out, but Polanco swipes second base. And for more on the Twins shortstop tonight, let's bring in Kevin Gordon.
Yeah, guys, it was fun to talk to Jorge Polanco this afternoon before the game. He was very excited to get the nod at shortstop, and he mentioned that the confidence he gained started when he got the call up July the 4th for AAA, and hitting the ball good down there. Once he saw that he could get it down there, he felt like he wanted to get his chance here and show the Twins that he can hit at this level. And you guys talked about it earlier. The confidence the organization has with this guy certainly lies in the offensive side of the ball. And they're hoping that some of that offense and that confidence carries over to what he can do at that shortstop position, because that's a position that Paul Mauder's talked about all week, guys. It's up for grabs, and he's young and up and coming. It's fun to see so many 20-somethings making an impact for this organization right now.
Polanco will get perhaps an opportunity to start tomorrow. Again, an interesting left side of the infield. Maybe a glimpse of the future for the Twins. With Sano at third and Polanco at short. 1-0 to Hicks. And now 2-0.
Well, the real tough one is not of how soon Polanco can be, but where is Danny Santana? It's hard to give up on a guy with so much talent.
Hicks will be walked.
Well, Rosario's probably going to have another shot here if they keep this up. There's Dan Santana. Just such a great second half, especially last year. And then a little tougher time the second time around.
Well, and so much of the optimism for this year was centered around both Santana and Kenny Vargas, and in either case, it just didn't work out, at least so far in 2015. Mauer, a tough day at the plate. 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Left the bases full with the third out in the 5th inning. Barring a pickoff here, Rosario will have his chance in the 8th inning. Hard to center, a sinking liner, and caught. No catch. No catch. The first base umpire, Marty Foster, finally extending his arm. So the original call is no catch. Lloyd McClendon coming out, and he saw what I saw. Marty Foster got his right arm raised about 3/4 of the way and then flattened his palms out. And so Mark Wegner will give the explanation to McClendon. And certainly the Mariners have the chance to review this. And that's exactly, or have the umpires review it, and that's what will happen. Mauer hit the ball hard again, and Jackson charging. And let's take a look here. Yeah, the ball hit the ground, and on that basis, it's a base hit. Off the fingertips of the glove into the ground. So this should be a 2-run single for Joe Mauer.
What's frustrating, especially for that man, Lloyd McClendon, is the fact that it was in slow motion. No, the umpires didn't react, and the Twins were kind of caught in between on that too. Nobody was moving. It's like, well, what's the call? You know, do you keep running? It's kind of hard. You're taught to always keep going.
This is where I wish I had gone to umpire school, and I always want to be careful about this, but I was looking at the second base umpire, Tony Randazzo.
Right.
And because I thought that would be the umpire to make the call, but with the runners running around, I don't know. Ultimately, the call was made by the first base umpire, Marty Foster, and with the umpires in a base runner situation like this, it might not have been Randazzo's call to make. That would seem.
He's the closest.
Well, but where's he looking? I mean,
right.
Is it his job to look
I
for
totally
the catch?
understand what you're saying, but the average fan sees the guy closest to the ball and wonders why he doesn't make the call, where a guy that's at least 90 feet further away is the one who indicated.
So the call on the field is a base hit to center. There needs to be convincing evidence that it was not a base hit, and the call made. Here's Jackson, who kind of had to alter his route there a little bit, and you can see the ball clearly hit the ground. And here's what confused me. I'm looking at Tony Randazzo, the second base umpire, and you can see where he is. He's watching the base runners, trying to make sure that they touch their bases, I presume. But he was not looking at the flight of the ball, and in that instance, it was the first base umpire. So the inning continues. Sano will bat with 2 men aboard, and the Twins now leading by 4 runs. 1 run scoring. Polanco scoring from second base. First and third. Mauer gets credit for an RBI single.
Unnoticed through that craziness was the importance of that run.
Absolutely.
That was a big run in a big situation, and Joe was able to get an RBI.
Off the end of the bat. 2 strikes to Sano. Again, he's been on base 3 times, this time with a hit, a walk, and an error. One and 2. Popped up, foul and out of play. Tapper to short. And the force at second base. Twins add another run in the 7th. It's been good to see. Twins have scored or threatened to score in every inning tonight. Mariners Twins series on Fox Sports North is brought to you by Chrysler. Enjoy your summer in style with great deals at the Chrysler Summer Clearance event. Trevor May coming out of the pen. He'll pitch to the Mariners here in the 8th. So far, so good as it relates to the Twins bullpen. And Franklin Gutierrez, Mark Trumbo, and Brad Miller are due up here in the 8th inning.
Well, this is a part of the game that they wanted to get Trevor May more innings in. A situation where the Twins are ahead in the game, and Trevor's going to pitch an inning, maybe 2. It's a non-save situation right now anyway, so I'm not sure they're going to have Perkins pitch tonight.
It's an interesting call because of the struggles Glenn's experienced as of late. Wondering what the best plan of attack is for him, as he's had 3 disappointing outings in his 4 since the break. Gutierrez will lead things off. Detroit held on to beat Baltimore 9-8. Toronto beat Kansas City 5-2. The Red Sox broke the White Sox winning streak rather, 8-2. The White Sox breathing down the necks of the Twins, thanks to a good surge for them after the All-Star break. Cleveland out in the West Coast, they're leading Oakland 3-1. You look at the scores 1-1 and the games listed, and just about every game has an impact on the Twins, for instance. Any of the contending teams. Now the Cleveland Oakland game, 2 last place teams, okay, maybe not that one, but LA Houston, Scott Kazmir shutting out the Angels in his Astro debut. That's a huge game in the National League West and in the wild card race that the Twins right now are engaged in. 1-2 to Gutierrez. Now 3-2. To the leadoff man in the Seattle 8th. Tapper. May bare hands, grips, fires, 1 away. Let's find out what's happening in our post-game show from Kevin Gord.
Yeah, it should be a fun edition tonight of Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. Eddie Rosario and Aaron Hicks have worn out Seattle pitching. We'll take you through their big offensive outburst this evening. Rosario still a chance for the cycle, so stay tuned. We'll also see how the defense, as we just saw with Mr. May getting off the mound quickly, just like Jack Morris used to do. The defense has done its job. We'll also bring you inside the clubhouse and talk to Paul Molitor. Hopefully the Twins can get a little momentum off this big outburst tonight, guys, and have a great weekend getting the mojo back here at Target Field, which has been here most of the season.
Fouled away. There have been a couple of bad stretches at home, but that's been it. And the Twins hoping to end a little bad skid here, a 1-4 mark. Twins had a homestand earlier this year that didn't go well. They had a tough time against the Brewers, losing 2 out of 3, and then lost all 3 to the Royals. Down and away, 1-1.
Well, they're getting off to a good start here, and if they could finish this one off, it's a 4-game series against the Mariners. So to win that series, according to my math, you'd have to win 3 games, and that would be adding to a little bit of rejuvenation.
With that little attention to detail you had in 3rd grade, because your teacher
let
you watch the World Series in
class,
right. And yet you still got your basic math down.
You know what? You give me the name of your teacher, and I'll see if I can hunt her down.
She was a great teacher, and I found out a couple of weeks ago she still lives in Dumont, Minnesota. So if she's awake tonight, my thanks to Darlis Forcier for her wonderful work with me and the 6 other kids in the school.
Just thinking it from her standpoint. My goodness, it would have been easier for 20 kids. You wouldn't have to always deal with that Bremer kid.
Toward the hole, backhanded. Polanco comes up firing. Whoa. Did he? Oh, Maurer couldn't quite dig out the 1-hop throw, and Trumbo will get a base hit. Otherwise, a phenomenal play by Jorge Polanco, deep in the hole.
Wow. Yeah, that was really deep. And what? He got something on that. That actually beat the runner. And Joe just not able to pick it. You see Sano diving for it way on the third, way behind third base. He still is able to get the ball there before Trumbo got there. But it's going to be an error. I'm going to give him an error. The error going to second base. Base hit and a throwing error.
Okay. One down, and here's Brad Miller outside a ball. Miller 0 for 3. Two and 0. No batting gloves for Brad Miller. And now 3 and 0. All right, you got 5 outs to get. You don't want to put any guys on base here. Leading by 4 runs.
Just can't afford to do that. Trevor May slowing his pace down a little bit now with runners on.
Ooh. Up high, and Miller draws a walk. He tried to get a high strike there and check Fox tracks and see where that pitch was.
Well, to me, see, there's no black up there.
Fox tracks presented by Carrier.
The upper part of the strike zone. That's going to be discretionary call.
Chris Taylor will bat. He trying to cut through the bottom of the Mariner order here, but now things are getting a little anxious again. Chop foul, 1 strike.
It'd be nice to roll a little double play ball right here. Ball hit on the ground.
Swing and a miss, 0-2. And Taylor playing second base in the absence of Robinson Cano, who's got an abdominal strain. And upstairs gets a swinging strike 3. 2 down.
Big out right there. They went back to the heater, and that one he elevated just enough to have Taylor swing underneath it. Climb the ladder right there with that fastball, upper quadrant of the strike zone.
Breaking ball, called strike. Zunino with a double his first time up since then, a fly to right and a ground ball to first. And again, high cheese and a swing and a miss.
Started him up with a high slider, and I think Zunino was basically looking down, and that one kind of locked him up the very first pitch. Then he throws a tailing fastball up and in, and Zunino had no chance at that pitch.
Rosario in the bottom of the inning will have a chance to hit for the cycle under what we think is a blue moon. We'll see if we can get some Twins history for you here later tonight. Enjoy a blue moon tonight. That's about as full as the moon can. And look, it's blue. It's blue.
Come on, that's the magic of television.
We'll see if Eddie Rosario can hit for the cycle. I'm told by someone who knows a whole lot more about this than I do that it's 99% waxing tonight. The moon is.
What was that word?
Waxing. You have a waxing and a waning. In other words, it's waxing, it's getting bigger, and then after the full moon it'll start waning. That much I know.
A lot about the moon that I did not know.
Yeah. See, these are conversations I can't have with Bert Blyleven because they bring up the subject of the moon, and it goes in a completely different direction.
I can only imagine.
There's Torrey Hunter leading off the 8th inning for the Twins. Strike one. It's Hunter, then Rosario, who tonight first hit a home run, then he hit a double, and then he hit a triple. Two strikes. Hunter with an RBI single in the first, and yeah, the extra runs have been needed, but the Twins got 5 in the first inning after they gave up a pair. A quick response by this Twins lineup. 1 and 2. And in advance of Rosario's appearance here, Paul Molitor, the Twins manager, once hit for the cycle, and he nearly hit for the cycle as a Twin. Bouncer to second. Fielded by Taylor. Johnny Oates, the Texas manager, walked Paul intentionally in a meaningless at bat late in the game, keeping him from maybe hitting for the cycle twice. Tonight, Rosario with 3 extra base hits in his first 3 at bats.
It's been a big night for Eddie, and it'll be even bigger. Live in infamy if he can just get a base hit right here.
And Rosario trying to become the 11th Twin to hit for the cycle. Again, historically, most recently done by Michael Kadire. Jason Kubel did it earlier that year in 09. First Twin to hit for the cycle, Rod Carew, in 1970. 1 strike to Rosario. And now 2 strikes.
If ever there was a guy who is called a drop and drive pitcher, it's Mark Lowe. He's probably about 6'4", 6'5", maybe. And he definitely drops down on his push-off leg and then drives, pushes towards home plate.
0-2 to Rosario. Fights it off. Oh, what a catch by Miller. And Rosario is denied the cycle on a great play by the Seattle shortstop. And the fans here at Target Field reacting as if Rosario got his single.
Well, I think Miller even knew what was at stake there. What a phenomenal play, but a great effort by Eddie, trying to do what he can. Fought a tough pitch off the inside part of the plate, and it was going to take a great catch like that to prevent him from hitting from the cycle.
Here is Escobar. Strike 1.
Hang with him, kid. You're going to get another shot at it, right? They're hard to come by. Very rare. But he's going to have another shot or two. I have a tough time believing that he won't. I can only imagine what Torrey's saying right now.
An extraordinary play by Brad Miller, denying Rosario the cycle. And now 1-2. Twins with 5 runs in the first. Run in the second, run in the third, run in the fifth, run in the seventh. They've scored or had a runner in scoring position in every inning to this point. fouled off the bat of Escobar.
Come on, let's go. Yeah, stop.
Foul back. Take a look at the road ahead presented by Chrysler. 3 games left in the homestand, 4 games in Toronto, a day game on Monday, and then 3 games in Cleveland. The Twins have another homestand coming up with the Rangers and the Indians. Inside, and it's 2-2.
Just read Aaron Hicks's lips as he's looking at Eddie. Maybe next time.
How'd you like to be Hicks? 3 hits and a walk, a home run. Might not even get your name in the paper tomorrow. 2-2.
He'll be in there somewhere.
On a night when the Twins starter Phil Hughes had a rough night, Escobar getting some pine tar to continue his at bat. Tonight, so far, the bullpen's been really good with 1 hit, 1 walk, and no runs over 3 innings. Twins needed a game like this to this point. Need to lock it down in the 9th, but Twins needed to draw the line in the sand. Escobar strikes out, and perhaps they have here tonight. And Rosario nearly made some Twins history, making a bid for a single to complete the cycle. But Brad Miller said no way. Younger players taking center stage here, including Eddie Rosario in his rookie season, and improving Aaron Hicks. And now one of the veterans, Glenn Perkins, trying to restore some of his magic from the first half of the season. Outside, ball 1.
Paul Muller, Neil Allen, not very many times in recent history has Glenn Perkins come in and pitched in a situation like this, but they're just trying to kind of rebuild his confidence, see if he can get a little better command of his pitches and get through a inning without giving up any damage.
Austin Jackson takes a strike. The only good outing for Glenn since the break came when he entered a game with a 3-run lead, a save situation, and he got the save, but the other 3 have been very disappointing after pretty much running the table in the first half. Now outside, a walk to Jackson to start the 9th inning. And that'll bring up Seager, and of course Perkins is asked to get the top hitters in this Seattle lineup. Jackson, Seager, and then Cruz is on deck. I'd have heard somebody trying to get Joe Mauer's attention. They're going to play behind Jackson with the left-handed batter up, Seager. He's 1 for 4 tonight. Double play grounder. Dozier, Polanco, just like that, 2 down. Let's take a look at what's next. Brought to you by CenturyLink.
That'll be Tommy Malone. He's looking to kind of rebound himself. Taijuan Walker, he's a big, strong kid, throws in the upper 90s.
Here's Cruz, 1 for 4, and significantly coming to the plate here in the 9th inning with his team down by 4 and the base is empty. Not close, ball 1. And a slider in a good spot, it looked like, and that's been one of the issues for Glenn. He says he feels fine out there, but his location has been off. Popped up. Mauer crossing the line. And the Twins win the opener against Seattle. Striking early. Scoring or threatening to score in just about every inning.